We have a lot to discuss with Representative Karen Bass, who joins us now. And Congresswoman, thank you so much for joining us today. So much to go over, and what a couple of days it has been. First of all, I heard your terrifying accounts of what you went through yesterday. Are you okay today?
Well, thank you so much for asking. Yes, I am in my office at the Capitol in Washington, D.C., and I am fine. All is quiet here.
Okay. You seem calm and rested. It's great to see you. And we want to start with something that you tweeted out earlier today. The FBI said it was seeking to identify people who instigated violence at the Capitol. You tweeted a photo of President Trump and said, quote, "Found one." Do you think this idea of impeachment or the cabinet invoking the 25th Amendment to remove him from office is realistic with less than 2 weeks to go left in his term?
Well, let me just tell you that I believe that he should be removed from office today. I believe he is a clear and present danger to the people of the United States. Now, having said that, I would love to see the 25th Amendment invoked, and Vice President Pence met his obligation to the country yesterday by certifying the election. I would love to see him take it a step further, but the question that you asked, is it realistic? I happen to think that members of the cabinet are as corrupt as he is, and so I don't know whether or not they would move. I doubt it. For example, Elaine Chao, who resigned today, how about instead of resigning, you stay there and step up and invoke the 25th Amendment? In terms of impeachment, I would love to see him impeached. And I would also love to see him impeached, because then he would never be able to run for office again. An absolute nightmare in our country would be if he spent the next 3 years campaigning for president. But do I think the same senators who refused to certify the election yesterday will vote for impeachment? I don't think that that's very, very realistic.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Well, there are serious questions about this response from Capitol Police yesterday, why the rioters weren't stopped, and why there wasn't a bigger police presence to begin with. What do you think happened here?
You know, I do not know, but I do believe there should be a full investigation. I'm very glad to see that the head of the Capitol Police has resigned. It was just shocking and outrageous. You can't come into the Capitol with a purse without it being screened. How do you have flagpoles? They were armed. Some had Molotov cocktails. There were people that had guns. You know that there were pipe bombs. I don't know if they were real or fake. So it was just absolutely obscene what took place. And then there are 2,000 members of the Capitol Police Force. And from what I understand, but this is without an investigation, only 500 were on duty. The president has told us for months he was going to do exactly what he did yesterday. So I just think it is completely inexcusable.
Yeah, there was ample warning. And to take this a step further, President-elect Biden today said that he saw a clear failure of equal justice, saying Black Lives Matter protesters, for instance, would have been treated very differently. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, it was an incredible breath of fresh air to hear the president-elect acknowledge what was so obvious. Part of my anger yesterday was the idea that if that had been a protest over police brutality with a large number of African Americans, I believe blood would have been flowing down the halls of the Capitol. I do not doubt that. You know, a few years ago, African American mother had a psychotic break. She started driving erratically, and she drove into one of the barricades. They shot her. They killed her. Her baby was in the back seat. So, you know, how did they get into the building when this building is so secure? I had told my family they didn't need to be concerned about me at all, because I was in the safest place in the country. Actually, the opposite was what was true.
Right. We remember that incident when that woman was killed. Well, Congresswoman Karen Bass, for all you do for this country and all the others who, the work that you guys do, you deserve to be protected. I'm sorry you went through this, but it's great to see that you were safe. And thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me on.
You bet.